evening and welcome to Meticulous Moments. My name is Juanita Kapp. You can reach me at meticulousmacarons@gmail.com or find me on LinkedIn. Since the COVID-19 pandemic hit the globe, I've had the wonderful privilege to meet a wide array of fantastic individuals. These individuals have truly touched my life in so many positive ways. Amongst this group of people, there are authors, public speakers, life coaches, poets, leaders, and visionaries. They are the unsung heroes of our time. Therefore, I decided to start the Meticulous Moments movement out of a sense of my gratitude. It is my way of giving back to the community. Let us share and reshare their stories in an effort to build a better society.
Good day, everyone. Thank you for joining us for yet another enlivening session here at the Meticulous Moments podcast. And this evening, we have the amazing privilege of spending time with my good friend, Justin Willoughby. Justin Willoughby lost so many pounds. He had such a huge weight loss. It is such an accomplishment what he has done in his life. His story speaks to millions of people. He is really the epitome of someone that does not give up. He flipped the script, he took his life back, and he is now transforming and changing the world into a better place. I want to read a post that Justin Willoughby did about 5 days ago. He says, sharing your story becomes a passionate pursuit to intercede in the lives of others. It becomes a drive in you to help people who may be experiencing the pain that you've experienced. When you see someone struggling, it just becomes a desire to want to reach in and rescue them. I unapologetically share my story on a consistent basis. Unfollow me if you want, he says, or you could share with others. That may be a benefit to changing lives. Join my mission of helping others, share, refer, talk to me. I just want you all to know that I'm here. Too many people struggle with their health. I'm here to be a messenger of hope. And that is indeed what you are, Justin. So privileged to have you in this session on the Meticulous Moments podcast, where we facilitate community upliftment through leadership development. Enjoy the session with us, audience, and welcome, Justin Willoughby. Good evening, Meticulous Moments audience. Thank you for joining us for yet another enlivening session here at the Meticulous Moments podcast, where we facilitate community upliftment through leadership development. And today we have the wonderful privilege of spending time with the amazing Justin Willoughby. I hope I pronounced your surname correctly, Justin. How are you?
Oh, you pronounced it very fine. Very good. Thank you. There's always a test afterwards on how to say it, so you already passed it.
Really? I'm glad to know that. I love passing tests.
Yes,
I know you. We met through ARMA. We had a virtual coffee as well, and we've talked on Messenger, and you were at the ARMA Summit, the Speaker Summit. You had a wonderful presentation there, and I also invited you on here. But, I feel like I've already known you. I know we have some similarities in our lives with the ministry and everything as well. So we're really connected. But for the audience members who are not acquainted with you yet, would you just please introduce yourself to them and tell them a little bit more about Justin?
I would love to do that. Thank you for the opportunity. I just want to start out by saying that guy back there, That was me. And here I am today as a whole new person. So my name is Justin Willoughby. At 14 years old, I was diagnosed with anxiety and panic attack disorder. To cope with that, I decided to go to food as my drug of choice. I had a food addiction that developed into my life at that point. I was afraid to move with the anxiety attacks and panic attacks. Every time I moved, my heart would race. I put myself in a panic attack and freak out and all that. And then, so I would sit constantly. And then on top of that, I would eat a bunch of food. So, of course, when you sit all the time and eat a bunch of food, you start gaining weight. And I turned into that guy back there, which obviously is not a good thing to be. So as time went on, I got the help I needed, which we'll unwind and unpack that a little bit as we go, but got the help I needed and eventually started recovery. My life turned around. I'm no longer the same person. The way I was living life, getting so large, eating the way I was eating, wasn't working. I was killing myself from the inside out. So I had to do something different. That's when I developed a faith in Jesus, gave me purpose, gave me direction, gave me value as a person. Because honestly, as that guy there, I felt like I was just a lardo. And I hate to say that, but that's how I thought of myself at that point. I don't believe in saying those words to myself. But at that point in my life, I'm a fatty, I'm a lardo, and I just take up space. And I didn't live a good life. I didn't see my value or worth. And I acted like I didn't matter. But then when Jesus came and rescued me from myself, gave my heart to him and life to him and dedicated myself to him, it changed everything for me. And from that moment on, that's at 16 years old, at that moment on, things like became different. My life started becoming a different life. I started exercising, moving. I started eating healthier. Actually, the stuff I was putting in my body was good for me instead of not good for me. It's sort of the garbage in, garbage out mentality, right? So I put good things into my body and got amazing results that way. So here I am today, a guy sitting in front of you right now, 600 pounds lighter. It's been amazing. 20 years later.
Wow. I mean, that is just phenomenal. And I love the way that you articulate your journey, because when you speak about it, I really feel like I see it unfolding in front of me. So that's a gift that you have, that storytelling gift that you have. Also, I love the fact that you referenced it as food was the drug of your choice, because if we are very honest with ourselves, we realize that everybody has a drug of their choice. For some people, it's exercise. For some people, it's food. For some people, it's alcohol. There's so many people out there that they won't speak openly about their problems because they kind of, they hide what they are going through. So I commend you on coming on here and going on other platforms and sharing your story as it is. You say it like it is. You're proud of your accomplishments, and that's why people relate so well to you, because they identify something in their own lives and they see that need to change. So thank you so much for that lovely introduction. You are that and so much more. I mean, you're a phenomenal leader and an awesome speaker, and we are so blessed to have you here today. And I wanted to ask you, as a coffee lover myself, I want to ask you, I love coffee, and I saw a post that you did about Starbucks the other day. What's your favorite type of coffee? Because I always tell people coffee is healthy. Not too much, of course, everything in moderation, but coffee can be very healthy for you. So what's your favorite? What's your go-to?
So I would call myself, my wife and I actually call ourselves coffee snobs. We are not into, there's certain coffees we just don't like, but there is Starbucks, right? I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with Starbucks, but it's
they have it here in South Africa.
Okay. So their coffee is just a little stronger to me, and it has a good flavor. So at Starbucks, my favorite beverage there would be, you would think it would be like the Frappuccino, those really sugary, high fat drinks, but yes, they're not mine. They're one of those things I would just take a sip of if my son got one, okay, that's good enough for me. But I usually just go in and get a Americano, and I usually get heavy cream. I don't really care for half and half so much. Periodically I'll drink it, but if I'm going to drink a cup of coffee, I like what I like, and I'm going to put a splash of heavy cream in there, which makes it rich, makes it tasty, and the coffee is healthy as itself, Yes. And then the heavy cream just adds a little bit of a flavor to me, which I can deal with, even if it has additional calories or fat. I'm not too scared of that because I just put it into my day. It's pretty simple. So I love that. I get that probably once or twice a week. It's good. It satisfies me and get my fix. And in the meantime, we have a Keurig maker here, so I pop in that Starbucks coffee on a daily basis there.
Oh, lovely, lovely. Yes, it's manageable and it's a treat, It's important that you treat yourself as well and reward yourself. I love that. And, we are here to get to know you. So now we know that you love Starbucks. You don't like any type of coffee. And, you like the Americano. So there you go, audience. We are here to to get to know Justin. So there's a lovely tip for you. And coffee is healthy. In my book, coffee is healthy. That's how I get through my day.
Yes, that's what you got to tell yourself.
Coffee.
Tell yourself coffee's healthy.
Yeah. Do you drink 1 cup every morning, or how many cups do you allow yourself?
So I allow myself to have 1 to 2 cups a day. It's not like, after too many, I don't have an interest anymore, to be honest. It's like that flavor. I enjoy the smell of it because I think I appreciate, and just kind of going on my approach here of living life. Sometimes as a food addict at one point in my life, sometimes you go through the motions of just seeing food and knowing, I want that. I just want to eat that. That looks so good. And you don't appreciate the flavors. You don't appreciate the scent of those foods, or even the appearance of those foods, right? So coffee has an aroma to me that something about it I just really enjoy. Not just the flavor, but the aroma. And so it's kind of like this moment of, I appreciate it, and sometimes too much of a good thing,
that moment.
you don't really appreciate it anymore, right? So I appreciate the smell and just the aroma of coffee. It just hits me in the face in the morning, like.
It helps us to get up. When I smell that filter coffee smell coming from the percolator in the kitchen, I'm like, okay, I'm up.
Yes.
So I love that, absolutely. And I'm quite the foodie. I love going to restaurants and trying new things, but always, just to savor, because some of the things I'll try, but I won't really go back. If it was lovely, but it wouldn't become a part of my favorites list. But I tried it, so I like to savor new tastes and everything. So thank you so much for that. I wanted to ask you, you are a weight loss professional now. You flipped the script. You went from 800 to 200 pounds, I believe. Yes, 799 down to 200. You flipped that script. Not only did you lose the weight, you empower people to lose weight. So tell us more about your role as a weight loss professional. I was so super excited to see that.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for asking that. So honestly, a weight loss professional, I look at the field of weight loss marketing, fitness marketing, and you see so many gurus out there who have the answer. They have the answer, and they get their stuff from head knowledge or partial experience. But in my profession, I not only have the head knowledge, but I've also have the big experience. I mean, 600 pounds is a huge experience of losing weight. That's a pound at a time. That's chiseling away. That's blood, sweat, and tears of just trying to become a healthier person. And it was life or death for me. So I had to really get that guy off me. I had to chisel away every piece of him to get him off me. And I've learned a lot of things throughout that, which sets me apart from those gurus, because here I am, as I've developed this program that I now do, that I live by, 600 pounds lost from that experience, from that method. I have a thing or two to teach other people. I have an effective way of doing things that actually works. Here I am. Proof is in where I'm at today, right? And I assist people with that. And it's not some fad program. It's not some fad diet. It's not anything that people are going to gruel all day long in the gym and this and that. It's just simply living a healthier lifestyle, one step at a time. That's my motto anyway, one step at a time. And so I just help people. I talk to them. I sit with them and coach them. And I give them everything that I've done, things that I've learned throughout my journey, to assist them into becoming healthier individuals. That's what I do. I'm not here to say that I'm the best thing out there. I'm not here to tell you that every time it's going to work for you, but I am here to tell you that I'm a hope to those who are struggling, and I'm a inspiration and motivation that could definitely help a person out.
Amen. If I look for coaches, because I'm a life coach, but there's some life coaches that I coach. And there's a reason for that, because they know I've been through the experience. They know I have the studies behind me and I have the knowledge, like you mentioned, but they also see in my life the experience. So thank you so much for articulating that so well. And you are definitely a go-to person, because you went through it. So you are able to walk them through the process. You know what they are going to go through. You know what to expect. And you really just bring that, that experience to the fore, making it practical for them. That's how I see you walking with your clients. So thank you so much for that. And, you are the CEO of One Step Movement. LLC. And I wanted to ask you this because losing that amount of weight takes a very firm grip on self-leadership. And you had that, Justin. I mean, you had that self-leadership within you, that strength. So what is your leadership approach? You know, when you work with yourself, when you work with others, what is the way that you mediate that leadership so as to keep them engaged and comfortable, but also to challenge them in what they are approaching?
So I think that's a huge answer I could give you. So I'll try to pick it apart a little at a time. So how I will go and do and practice leadership in those areas. Number one, you can't just live life and say you do something and actually not do it. You actually have to walk the talk. And so I'm up every morning, or if I have an appointment in the morning, it's later in the day, but I exercise 5 to 6 days a week, sometimes 7, just because I know mentally I have to continue that discipline. If I don't, I can easily just say, I'm not doing this today. The next day, I'm not doing this today. That's who I used to be. And if I don't want to be who I was, then I'm not going to go back to do the things that I did. So I stopped doing that. I start exercising every day. As soon as when it comes to food, I'm the example. I make sure I eat healthy foods. I consume healthy foods on a consistent basis. Now, I will say that I encourage people to have days where they can have some treats periodically because it keeps you sane. Some people love the rigidness of not having one treat. And if you're a food addict, like I was in one point in my life, I had to take a moment and say no to any type of junk food. I couldn't do it because I was just going to continue eating that stuff. And it wasn't breaking that cycle or that habit in my life. So I stopped. And so now I share with people, hey, you have to do what I do. I exercise, I eat healthy. Here's my example. And so I live the example, I share with people, and it just makes a difference because I'm the real deal to them. And I don't say, look how amazing I am, but I share that because you have to be the example to other people. So many times I see people, I've met other fitness coaches as well, and I've witnessed what they do. They say what to do, but they don't always live it out. So that's one of the things that I do to make sure that separates me from everybody else.
I love your answer, and there's two things that came up, you know, when you were structuring that so well. You teach people how to have healthy habits, and you help them to put that into a lifestyle, because really to lose a huge amount of weight and to keep it off is really in, you know, changing your lifestyle. And then there's a second thing that I thought about that you mentioned. You do what you say yourself. So if you tell them, you know, do this, you are practicing that yourself. And we talked a little bit about being in the ministry before the session was recorded. And I always tell people, especially when I train young pastors, I always say, you cannot cancel someone with, that's an alcoholic and tell them they shouldn't drink anything. And then you go out to the restaurant in the mall and you get so drunk and they walk past and they see you doing exactly what you said they shouldn't be doing. So everything in moderation. And, you know, just reminding ourselves that the eyes are always on us. People are always looking at us. They're always watching. So I love that. Thank you for saying that and for bringing that to our attention. Now, you went from 799 pounds down to 200 pounds. What motivated you that day when you decided you were going to start this weight loss journey? What went through your mind?
So what motivated me to get to a place to lose weight and to become healthier was the will to live, to be honest with you. It was the will to live, because the way I was living life, I was killing myself spiritually, physically. I was just going down the road I shouldn't be going down. And so I ended up choosing to live. I think that's the biggest thing. At 16 too. I mean, I was 16 at 799 pounds, sitting in a hospital bed. My friends were out playing football, playing and hanging out with their friends, playing video games and sports and doing what they want to do. And I was sitting in a hospital bed, and I was in a prison to myself. I was that guy. I was sitting there and not being able to do anything except eat and watch TV. Now, every teenager loves to eat and watch TV, but I wanted to do more than that. And the doctors would come in and they wouldn't say outright, you're going to die. But, you know, in essence, they were saying something needs to be done because you're in dangerous territory right now. And when that hits you, you recognize man, if I want to grow up and have a job, if I want to grow up and get married one day, if I want to have children, if I want to do what I want to do in life, then I literally need to start something right now. And as a kid, I couldn't comprehend that 100%, but I did recognize that there had to be something different in my life, or I'm going to continue down this road. That couldn't be me anymore. I had to change, not be that guy, but change and become a different person. So I did. When I gave my life to Jesus, it really did change my life. Did not make me a perfect person, but I will tell you that it did create a different approach to my lifestyle, one that I was more mindful of what I was doing. And so partnered with faith, partnered with will and desire to live. Those are the two things that really motivated me. And I ate up everything, no pun intended, to grow in knowledge. I would start reading articles online. I started listening to those who are very experienced in health and wellness. My physical therapist and occupational therapist that I was prescribed at that point, they had a lot of head knowledge on nutrition and other things like that. So I started to really glean from them. What can I learn? What vitamins should I take? What exercises should I do? Where do I start? What food should I eat? All these different questions that I had, and I learned from them. And they gave me magazines to read. They gave me books to read. They gave me websites to go to, different things like that. And I just started learning so much and applying that stuff to my life. And over the years, I just started seeing results from that. With a newfound faith, a new perspective on life, and with new habits developing, it's a recipe for success, obviously, because you're not doing what you used to do anymore.
I love that. I was thinking now as you were, answering that question, I was thinking a few things. I was thinking that God works with me in pictures. So I'm thinking, sometimes we go shopping and we see this beautiful dress on the rack, and it's just amazing. And then you put it on and you try it on, and it's just not you. It's just not a good fit. And I was thinking when you said you were looking at yourself and thinking, but who is this guy? Because you also referenced earlier, you said I had to lose that guy. I had to lose. You were looking at yourself and you knew who you really were wasn't matching with your physical appearance, your physical, weight. And I really feel you just breaking through that. And this was a mental breakthrough as well, because, you had so much stress, Justin. Who could ever, people all have their own ways to resort to different measures. And the stress that you were under, your childhood, the things that you had to face, it was natural for anyone to reach out to something to bring comfort. In your case, it was just food. And the level of a self-leadership it took for you to get out of there, that's commendable. I read your story. I saw your photos. I've, looked at the links, and I heard you speak at the summit, and I kept thinking to myself, my goodness, this is not something ordinary. This is big. And this is going to speak to generations to come. And, you mentioned that you were bullied. Tell me a little bit about the bullying, because, that has been a phenomenon. It's been around forever. And I spoke to Rich Grogan yesterday. We had a phenomenal interview. And he mentioned, because he writes a book about being bully proof. He's a martial artist like me. And he was saying, bullying is not something that's going to go away. Stop saying we are going to stop bullying and equip children to face, because we didn't learn when you and I were younger. I don't know how old you are now, but when we were younger, no one taught us how to stand up against bullying. It just happened, it was glossed over. So tell me, how was your experience? What happened during the course of those years that you were bullied?
Yeah. Thank you for asking that. And you're absolutely right. It's not going to go away. Kids are brutal. I'll be honest with you. There's a point in children where they're not mature enough to understand that what they say and how they say it to somebody definitely will impact them for the rest of their lives, right? I don't know if you ever heard of the toothpaste analogy, where you can squeeze a toothpaste tube and you can squeeze it all out, right? But you can't put that paste back in there. You could try really hard, but you might get a little piece back in there, but the whole thing is not going to get stuffed with toothpaste again. And just like our words, once they come out of our mouths, We can't take them back. You might be able to say sorry and put a little bit of toothpaste back in there, but you're not going to undo what you said. So in that sense, kids in school really hit in middle school. I was awesome in elementary school. Like, I was bigger than a lot of the other kids, than every kid. And they loved me literally during recess, or not recess, in story time. I seriously would sit there and the kids would lay on my lap and they would lay on my shoulder and they would call me a pillow. The teacher was kind of like, Justin, does that bother you? And I said, no, I love it because my friends are hanging out with me and they're enjoying the time. So they took advantage of my size and it was all good. But then when middle school hit, it was different. Kids were not the same. I mean, they hormones are going on. They're getting older. They're getting more judgmental. It's no longer this innocence. It's more of the, I gotta be cooler. I gotta look better. I gotta, whatever. And they would start saying things like, you're fat, or you're a lardo. You're ugly, things like that. And girls would tease, and they would say, go ask Justin out. They wouldn't want to ask me out, but they would tease and try to see who's going to ask out the big guy, kind of joke around with him and make him kind of the little singled out guy. And I remember going up the stairs in school to the next classes and going up 2 floors. I would wait till everybody passed me because I didn't want them to stare at my backside, because I didn't want to I didn't want to feel embarrassed that people were watching me or seeing something in front of them. And I was so insecure about that. And so it was a lot of mental baggage that I was carrying around, and emotional turmoil, I guess you could say, because I was always insecure, always thinking, what are they thinking of me? What are they going to say next? And I was never pushed or hit or anything like that, but words can hurt sometimes more than a punch in the face, and they can oftentimes stick with you. So, but now, it's such a cool experience. God opened up an awesome door. There was a kid in actually elementary school that he started the whole bullying thing, but it wasn't crazy. Like, he wasn't always doing it, but he would kind of make fun of me periodically. Well, I met him again years later. I'm talking like 20 years later or so. And I met him again, and he actually came up to me and apologized to me out of nowhere. And said, I am so sorry for how I treated you in school. It wasn't okay. And I looked at him and I just said, dude, it's water under the bridge. I forgive you. And I got to share how God forgave me and my wrongs, and how I don't hold grudges against people. And I appreciated the apology and all that. But it was a blessing to me to experience that. So are good people out there too. And sometimes kids just go through some rough patches and they have to identify who they are, and then eventually come around and say, oh, I was being stupid there. I was being an idiot there. And actually later on grow up in their thoughts and their maturity. But, today I do a lot of, when I have the opportunity, I will do some public speaking events. It's been a little bit since COVID. We haven't really gotten back into the swing of that, but I'll do anti-bullying campaigns with schools and discuss, what bullying looks like. And as the person who is getting bullied, how do you take that? And what are you supposed to do with that? Is it okay? Is it wrong? Is it, what should you do if something like that happens? And to the bully, it's like, what you say and what you do truly matters, and it impacts a person's life. I remember I had a friend in middle school who was a smaller guy, very small guy, and made fun of him for his size. He ended up getting bullied so much that he actually took his own life. And
oh my goodness.
That is eye-opening. And as a child, I didn't see that. But as an adult looking back, I'm like, wow, how did you get to that place? And how do people continue to poke at this thing until somebody's so gone and detached from reality to even take their own life? So I try so hard to stop any type of bullying that I see, or if I can speak up against it, I try to discuss that and how it does impact a person's life.
That takes a certain level of compassion, what you did. When he came back and he apologized, you didn't think twice. It was a no-brainer for you. You said, it's water under the bridge. And that's a testimony to me of the work that God has done in your heart. Because you could have easily, and you had the full right, you could have easily said to him, no, leave me alone. You were the cause of my problem, or you were part of the problem. I don't have to speak to you. Get out of my sight. That's not what you did. You have that forgiveness in your heart. You have that compassion, that empathy. You understand that God did something in you as he did something in the other person. So I really think that is just amazing. And bullying really is a thing. It's a big thing in the schools, and I really feel the field of people that you reach is so great, because there's people that are younger generations that are going through bullying, but there's also in the corporate world there's also types of bullying. And even when we are grown-ups, people are still being bullied, because some people are just like that. They have to say something negative to feel better about themselves. And there's lots of adults I know, especially with my counseling practice, people are very mean to each other. But I have to say, children, oh my goodness, they can be cruel. They can be so cruel. So thank you for working on that, and for teaching people how to navigate through that, so that they don't get to a place where they want to take their own lives, because we don't want that. We want everybody to have a fulfilled life. Now, you stood up for those that couldn't stand up for themselves. You had people lying on you when you were, when it was storytelling time. And I saw that in my mind, and I just thought to myself, my goodness, that says something about your personality and your heart. And thank you for that. You touched so many lives in the course of your school years. So I really just appreciate that, especially because I work with a lot of youngsters as well. Now, your podcast named 600 Pounds Down is starting on the 17th of November. That's tomorrow. Tell us more. We are so happy about that. Congratulations.
Yeah. Wow. It's I've been wanting to do a podcast for a very long time, because when you have a message or you have a passion, you want to bring it to the world as much as you can in any way, shape, or form, be it through books, be it through public speaking, be it through Facebook or Instagram or Twitter posts, right? But a podcast is a whole new animal, a whole new avenue to share my experience or anybody's experience with the world. And so I'm excited to say that I'm finally dropping a podcast. I mean, this is years in the making. We finally are at a place where we're going to just launch this bad boy tomorrow. It's the 17th is tomorrow. And it's launching on obviously Apple Music, Spotify, and a couple other ones. But we're looking forward to getting this going, because I believe there's a world out there who needs to hear what somebody's going through, needs to hear a weight loss story, needs to hear how addict overcame this, or whatever that may be. If you're starting a podcast today, or you already started one, your message matters, and you're getting it out there to people who need that motivation, inspiration, and education on how to get out of where they're at. So I'm looking forward to dropping this. It's going to be good. We're going to do one episode a week for now, and then move into several a week. And we're going to have some guests in the future, just to talk about health and wellness. We're talking about spirituality somewhat, mental transformation. We're definitely going to be hitting on that one. Definitely educating individuals on food choices, maybe some hacks, some hacks that you can do to your life to assist you on your journey beyond the healthy diet and healthy exercise. And even your environment. Like, what are some things you can change? What about stress? What about sleep? What about vitamins? What about things like that? So there's a ton of things we're going to talk about, all health related. It's not all just weight loss. We're marketing it as 600 pounds down because it is my story and I lost 600 pounds. But there's so much more to this story. There's so much more to 600 pounds down than just weight loss. So even if you're not overweight and you just want to become a healthier person, not only physically, but mentally and spiritually even, then this is the podcast for you. And it's not too long. I don't go too long. I'm just going to start out with, we're looking at 15 to 30 minutes. So it's an easy, and even a commute to work and back. I mean, it's just, or a lunch break if you have time, but why not take a moment out of your week just to be inspired and motivated and encouraged to make some healthier choices, mind, body, and spirit. So that's what we're doing. It's going to be great.
Oh, amazing, amazing. You have a phenomenal niche. And I love the fact that you use your story to market your podcast, because it's gonna minister to people on a holistic level. It's gonna work with them body, soul, and spirit, and that fits in so well with who you are and your personality. So that's gonna be amazing. I'm gonna follow you. I'm gonna check it out.
I wanted to ask you, how would you describe self-leadership? If you have to coin that term, what is self-leadership? To me, that is something else, maybe to you. To me, that is taking control of your own choices, taking stock, prioritizing my life. What does that signify to you?
So self-leadership, you would take all the attributes you would see from a leader, and you have to actually put it into practice yourself, right? So the hard thing about being a self-leader is that there's no accountability, only to yourself. And so when you have nobody to answer to except yourself, it's easier to make excuses. It's easier to sleep in. It's easier to not exercise. It's easier to eat the cookie. It's easier to ignore things that matter. It's easier just to go back to bed and watch that TV show, right? It's self-leadership requires discipline. It requires you to be disciplined enough and committed to yourself enough to actually lead a life that is going to make a difference. So it's self-leadership is you never stop growing. You never stop maturing. You never make it, truthfully. The person I was last year is not the same person I am today. And who I am today is not who I will be in a year from now. And so we just keep self-improving ourselves. And what leaders do is they not only grow, but they also lead others. So you get yourself in a position to mature, to learn, to grow. And then you take that information. You don't just keep it to yourself. Yeah, you develop yourself. Self-development is amazing. It's good. You need to do that every single day. But you take it and you don't harvest it just in here, but you spread that harvest and you give it to other people. Self-leadership is made when you invest in yourself and then you invest in other people. I don't know if you ever heard the term, the healing's in the helping. So when you begin to help others with your story, or you lead others with who you are as a person and what you can offer them, you become a better person as well. You begin to heal in areas, you begin to develop in areas, you become motivated to grow even more in certain areas. The law of the lid, right? You keep growing, the lid keeps going up and up and up and up. And you have to just keep taking off that lid, adding more, taking off that lid, adding more, taking off that lid, adding more. That's what self-leadership is. And it's okay to fail. That's the other thing I want to say too. Like, I'm not here to say I'm this like person that has it all together, because I don't. There's days where I don't read enough. There's days where I don't pray enough. There's days where I get it wrong. But a leader is okay with failing, and they don't stay there. They get up, right? They dust themselves off and say, okay, rough spot, but we're going to move forward. We're going to get this thing going. We're going to pick up where we left off again. And we're not going to let the pain or the moment of yesterday impact who we are today, because leaders don't do that, because people are watching us. They're watching everything that we do. And so you fail, but it's not okay to stay in that failure.
Yes. Beautifully said. And I gather from that, what you brought across for me is that self-leadership takes a certain level of self-awareness, being aware of your shortcomings and working on those, just one step at a time. And you love, the one-step method, and that's wonderful. I want to ask you, because I've seen so many things on social media. I see these little gadgets that people use to lose weight. I see people going into weight loss and then they lose a lot of pounds in 21 days, and others it takes 6 months, and others it takes longer. What is a healthy time span to lose a good amount of weight, but to keep it off? What is that time? What is a healthy way? Because you did it the healthy way. You didn't just go and then lost everything and then picked everything up and your body was in shock. You lost it the healthy way. It was a systematic process.
Yes. So I teach my clients, we actually don't check the scale every week. So my method's so different. I take the focus off of the scale. Because honestly, I've seen too many programs, been part of too many programs that only focus on changing the number on the scale. And truthfully, once that accountability and coaching and program is over, people tend to not have the head knowledge to maintain what they learned from that coaching program or that weight loss program or fad diet. So what I do is I start out by addressing the mind, addressing mental development, addressing mind transformation when it comes to food, when it comes to exercise, when it comes to self-value, self-worth. All those things are pretty much brought to the the front of the table. It's the first foundation that we start on. And I always add spiritual dynamics to it. Not everybody's open to the spiritual, and I'm totally cool with kind of, what do you want to call it? Just kind of putting that part aside for a little bit, but you will hear about it because it is part of life. And so I would say that those who focus on their mental and spiritual life had the best results physically. But if you just work on your mental life, you will see some progress and you will stick to it. So I would say the difference with what I do versus the others is I do just the mind first. And then we start one step at a time. It's my one step movement that I do. It's one step at a time. So we change one thing here, one thing there. And once people master those things, they feel empowered. They feel empowered to start something new because they already have the water. Let's take example, water. Let's just say we want you to drink more water, and I give them amount of ounces depending on what their goals are. And so we do that. And then once they get that down for about a week, we see that it's sticking. We see that they're ready to start something new. So they cut out sugary beverages next, or they cut out something else, or they start 2 more steps. Some people, they can start 4 steps at a time and be fine. Others can start 1 at a time and it's totally okay. Everybody's at a unique place in their life, right? And so what usually happens from there is people start losing roughly 1 to 3 pounds a week, depending on their, really truthfully, and it's sad to say this, but gender is a factor in how fast people lose weight.
I mean, it's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then of course your age at times and the muscle you have on your body, all those things, and how much weight you have to lose. If you're a bigger person, you're a couple 100 pounds or 100 pounds overweight, and you want assistance versus a person who's 20 pounds overweight, that 100 pound, 200 pound person is going to lose a little quicker because they have more to lose, and they use more energy while they're moving, while they're doing things. It's just kind of science right there. But anywho, I'm looking at normally 1 to 3 pounds a week. It usually happens with weight loss. Sometimes people don't lose any throughout the week, but their body image just changes. And that's why we don't focus on the scale. I have my clients usually weigh in once a month. And if they don't want to weigh in that month, I don't enforce it. I do say the scale is a metric that we use, but it's not the only metric we use. So there's other ones out there, like how your clothes are fitting. There's pictures, there's measurements, there's blood markers. There's your self-confidence. There's how you feel. I mean, I can go on and on. If you can walk a mile better than you did last month, I mean, there's so many markers that you can even look at for progress and results. And I don't push the scale. I just think it just has a stigma to it that is totally damaging to people.
It's unhealthy. The scale is unhealthy. Let me tell you something. I've never said this on social media ever. I don't like a scale. I don't get on one. I don't want to get on one because I'm muscular. I'm short and I'm muscular, and muscles weigh more than fat. So for me to get on the scale, if I look at the scale, I get despondent because I'm like, but I'm training. So I'm happy. I'm healthy. I'm within my body mass, my BMI, and I'm fit. And I feel good. So inches, I think, is different from losing the kilograms or the pounds. That's also a marker that you mentioned. And I love the fact that you put short goals for everyone. And then you take those short goals and you help them to get to the longer goals. And that keeps them engaged, and it keeps them, their morale high, that they will get to their goal, and they will definitely lose the weight or the inches that they need to. So thank you so much. I love that. I don't like a scale at all. I believe it's not a good thing, but that's just in my opinion. I wanted to ask you, what are healthy types of breakfast recipes? I have certain go-tos, but I'm not always sure if it's healthy. What do you normally give? Do you give them an eating plan, or do you give them suggestions of what they should take in the morning?
Sure. Yeah. So it all depends on the individual. Everybody's different. Everybody has different needs, energy levels, different types of foods that they like. And so I don't discriminate against a lot of foods. In fact, you might even hear me totally just say these foods are okay, right? I broadcast them. Like you hear about eggs and how, they're not bad for you, they raise your cholesterol, but there's a lot of science behind that now that actually makes more sense, right? So eggs have a lot of cholesterol, but the more cholesterol you consume in your diet, the less your body will make. And if you don't consume cholesterol in your diet, your body will make that cholesterol. It's pretty crazy how that works. So I encourage people, what do you like? I first encourage protein all day long. I would say protein is a staple of every single meal. And depending on your needs, what your desires are, depending on what your goals are, you might have more than the next guy or next gal. But either way, you're going to have a protein at every meal. Now, for breakfast, I totally recommend, protein shakes, totally fine. If people like protein shakes, I go for them. I try to get the less processed ones because some of them are full of so many fillers. I'm not a big fan. I try to get the low sugar ones because the low sugar ones I just tend to think are better for weight loss. And then I would recommend if people want to eat eggs in the morning, I say 2 to 3 eggs. If you substitute, if you want to do 2 eggs and 2 egg whites, totally up to you. Everybody has their own method of what they like, right? Like, I don't really like eggs so much, so I don't really like the yolks flavor. I have somebody who don't like the yolk flavor. Okay, that's fine. Just eat the egg whites. Totally okay. I would also suggest, if they want to do cereals, watch out for those cereals. A lot of them have a lot of additional sugars and are processed and not good for you. If you're going to have a cereal, I would choose more plain cereals like I'm not trying to name name brands, but like anything with corn, anything with rice, anything with maybe like a bran type of thing, plain would be good. We want to try to aim for that. And then, of course, if you have some other sugary cereals throughout your day, you want to just make some substitutions throughout the day so you can enjoy that cereal in the morning if you really do enjoy like the ones with marshmallows and stuff in them, right? So I don't discriminate on foods. I even add bacon. We do turkey bacon periodically. We also do regular bacon. I really do enjoy myself a nice breakfast. On Saturday mornings, especially, I love making healthier pancakes if we can, and having some eggs and some bacon or some turkey sausage on the side or something, just with natural maple syrup. I mean, it's just, you can have a really good breakfast and it fuels you for the day. So I would yogurt parfaits are good. You can put a yogurt and put some healthy granola and some berries on top of that. Greek yogurt has more protein than regular yogurt, so I encourage Greek yogurt. I'm talking a lot. I can give you ideas all day long. So I love
it. I'm making mental notes here. I sometimes feel like such a gym junkie because I love my protein shakes. I mean, I just love the taste. And also sometimes when I'm hungry for lunch, I'd rather, if I had to choose between, a sandwich, a healthy sandwich or a protein bar, I eat the protein bar. I don't know. I just like that taste. And I think everybody has their own taste for things. They have their own cravings. But what you do is you give such a variety, Justin. They can choose. It's not that they are now in food jail and there's only 3 options. You give them a variety, and that's a successful thing to do because people, sometimes we get tired of eating the one thing all the time. I know people here that, for instance, thought at some point that if they only ate lettuce, they would lose weight. And they felt miserable. They were absolutely miserable because, who just wants to eat lettuce? You're not going to have any energy. It's not going to get you all the protein and the vitamins that you need. So I love your approach. And I can't wait. I'm really going to follow your podcast. I want to hear, more of this because I really think you formulated something wonderful here. And it's going to be amazing. People are really going to respond well. Now, talking about protein powders, do they work? I don't use them for weight loss as such, but I use them for the vitamins, and I love the taste, and I know it's good for my overall health. But do the protein powders actually work for weight loss?
Sure. Yeah, they can work for weight loss. They can be meal replacements. And so get a protein powder that has decent protein in it. Also, people like, there's different varieties. There's whey protein, there's pea protein, there's other types of proteins out there. I even seen one time egg white protein. They just crystallize the egg whites, and I never tried that one. Sounds unique. Wow. So you can get protein powders that are good, that have a meal replacement, like you were saying. And of course, what it does is it restricts calories. So, at that meal, you're consuming If it's a 200 calorie shake, that's set at the 200 calories, just like with food, right? You're eating food, it'd be 200 calories, 300 calories. A protein shake could actually, or a meal replacement shake could actually be beneficial when it comes to losing weight, because it does give you kind of this, all right, we know this shake's going to be 200, 300 calories and that's it, right? Also gives you a good buzz of protein. It's really good for you to consume protein, and protein metabolically takes more to break down a protein with your body. So you burn more calories breaking down a protein than you would a carbohydrate or a fat. And so, yes, there's a lot of benefits of having a protein shake. I'm not saying it's the only answer, though. I'm saying it's preference, like you were saying. If you enjoy a protein shake for breakfast or a meal replacement shake, go for it. Go for it. But I would just encourage, don't be afraid to switch it up periodically, and don't allow, and I'm not saying in your situation, but anybody who's listening right now, don't allow laziness or not wanting to be adventurous and cooking new foods be the culprit of you not trying other foods. Because there are a lot of benefits to things like eggs. There's a lot of benefit to even a bowl of natural oatmeal with some tasty things inside that. Like, there's a lot of good things that come with that stuff that you can't get from a protein shake or a meal replacement shake. I would say switch it up. Or if you're doing a meal replacement shake, try to add something to it. Maybe add some peanut butter to it to get some more vitamins and minerals. Try adding some almond butter or some powdered protein or powdered peanut butter, or try adding some fruits to it or some spinach. Now, it sounds gross, but you add some greens to it. If you add just, don't add like 3 cups of spinach, but if you add a cup or 2 of spinach, and usually you don't taste it at all. So try it sometimes. Try it with a little bit. Start putting like a half a cup of spinach in there. You won't taste it. And just start adding a little bit more at a time until you finally get a point where you're like, all right, this is good for me right here. Another thing you can do is add an avocado or a piece of or some avocado to a shake, which thickens it up and adds a healthy fat. It adds some great antioxidants to your body, to your diet. I would say there's a ton of, and satiation, because when you have some healthy fat, it satisfies you. So if you use like unsweetened almond milk as the staple of the protein drink, and then put a little bit of an avocado, 1/4 or a half of an avocado, small avocado, and then you add your protein powder or your meal replacement powder, it creates a really good, tasty concoction of protein of a drink. And I like doing that periodically. So yeah, definitely protein powders can work, meal replacement shakes can work, but just be adventurous. Be adventurous and try some additional things so you can go ahead and experiment with food you like and don't like.
Yeah, I love this. I mean, I want to say to the audience, when you've watched this, comment for us in the comment section, what's your go-to smoothie? You know, give us a recipe here so we can switch it up a bit. But I've never, ever, and I'm into smoothies big time. I love smoothies and I love shakes. Never heard anyone say you should add avocado. I'm definitely going to try that. That makes so much sense. Here in South Africa, we have a place called Boost. I don't know if you have that overseas. They make these wonderful smoothies and wonderful combinations. Some of them have protein powders. Others are just fruit mixes or veggie mixes. Lovely, to have a boost. It's also very healthy. They use kale and all of these lovely ingredients. But I was thinking of a recipe that I make, for instance, for people in the audience that love oats. I make oats in the microwave because it's fast. And then I add a little bit of butter, just for that taste, a little bit of honey, and I also add a little bit of milk. And that is a treat to me. I absolutely enjoy that. So I've never heard about the avo. Try, if you see a Boost, go and get yourself one. Try the oat recipe. And then I wanted to say the protein powders, shakes are amazing with protein powders in as well. And what in your teachings, because, I mean, we have different metabolic systems, right? What in your teachings does protein do to the muscles and the body? Because I'm sure it's not the same for each metabolic state. I mean, for instance, with my metabolism, protein is good. I can have a lot of protein in eggs. And so how does protein affect the different people, for instance, the different metabolic rates? Do you work with that with the people? Because I've seen that all over social media lately. Yes.
There's a lot of mixed bag out there of what that looks like, protein per person, but all depends on goals. And again, we talked about individual goals when I do coach people where they join my program. And so if they want to gain muscle, obviously they get more protein. So with protein, the science behind protein and for health purposes of gaining strength or building muscle is that when you work out, when you exercise like a bicep curl, right, you break down muscle fibers and those muscle fibers tear down, right? And then when they tear down, they need to repair. And so when you do those curls, it breaks down those, you got it. Look at those muscles.
No, I was lifting my shit.
You didn't have to say that. I wouldn't have known. No. But yeah, that breaks down the fibers when you do the exercises, the muscle fibers, and the protein is a repair. It goes and repairs those muscle fibers. And then when they build back up, you're supposedly, scientifically speaking, you start enhancing that muscle. You start building that muscle. It gets stronger, gets bigger as time goes on. Now, it doesn't happen overnight. Sometimes it might take a couple weeks to a couple months to a couple years to truly get where you want to be. But you notice after a good, consistent 2 to 3 months of strength training and having adequate amount of protein, you will experience some type of muscle growth or some type of muscle toning. Now, men and women are different. Women don't tend to build on mass like men do. So that's a good thing. A lot of women I talk to are like, well, I don't want to get too muscular. I'm like, you're not going to get too muscular. You're going to get toned. Women tend to tone more than men would. Men tend to grow mass. And if women do want to grow muscle, they have to do additional things we're not going to get into today to make that happen. But it's just important. Strength training in itself is an important element to add to your daily routine or your weekly routine, because as you get older, muscles do deteriorate. You're not as strong as you once were, and you need to keep your metabolism healthy. And how do you do that? You start strength training. You start picking up heavy, even if you don't go to a gym, get some resistance bands, get some light dumbbells, or just do some body weight exercises, squats, bicep curls, shoulder presses. I mean, the sky's the limit of things. Push-ups, you could do a bunch of different things just to maintain good muscular health in your body as you age.
Great advice. I agree. In my case, I build muscle very quickly. So I mediate my strength training with the CrossFit that I do and the karate. And karate is a wonderful way to tone. But if I have to look at my training regime and what I eat, otherwise I build very fast. But that's just my type of body. But I love what you've shared with us. So interesting. I could listen to you all day. You're so knowledgeable about these topics. That's phenomenal. And I wanted to ask you this, because I don't believe that I asked you this in our video call, in our virtual coffee. What is your life dream? What do you aspire to? What would you like to do in this world?
That is going to be something that I can probably talk on that all day too. But I guess in a paragraph or a couple sentences, I want to be an example of health to other people and to rescue them from where they're at. I want to show people that there's a healthier way to live, that you don't have to be insecure about what you look like. You don't have to stay feeling sluggish. You don't have to lack confidence. You don't have to be unhealthy. You can actually take charge of your life. You can take charge of your health. You can feel different. You can look different. You can be more confident. You can be healthier. You can be happy. You can prevent premature disease. Sky's the limit. You can gain strength. You can keep up with your kids. You can live long and a healthy lifestyle and enjoying quality and quantity of life. I mean, there's so much that I want to show people and to give them an avenue of hope. When it comes to, I'm doing a lot that I want to do already anyway, but I want to keep going and moving forward with that. I love coaching. I'm a health coach, wellness coach. I do group coaching and one-on-one coaching. I author books. I do podcasts. Here we are. I do a bunch of different motivational speaking. The sky's the limit. I write posts, I share knowledge. I can go on and on about the avenues of how to bring the message of hope to others. So I'm doing that already, but we're just getting started, and there's so much more to do, so many lives to change, and we're just going to keep continuing to take this one step at a time myself to make this happen, to help people out.
Love it. Absolutely love it. You're a breath of fresh air. You are really instilling hope in the lives of people. And, I always commend people that really change and that want to make a positive difference in society. And I really see that in you. So thank you so much. I mean, we had such a lovely session. The time just flew by. We are actually at the last question. I can't believe it. It just flew by too quickly. So I want to ask you, Justin, do you have any words of wisdom for the audience?
Yes. I mean, I have a lot of wisdom I could share, but what can I package here with you? Firstly, just number one, truly evaluate yourself and just come to terms if, are you happy? Are you happy with who you are? If you're not, and I'm not talking like, I am the way I am and it's fine. I'm saying if you look in the mirror and you saw yourself today and you looked at your body, you looked at your health, you looked at your life, you looked at your mental health, your spiritual health, your physical health, and you can sit and look at yourself in the mirror and lay your head in the pillow at night and say that you're happy, then this message isn't for you and it's totally okay. But if you're a person who wishes that they could change something in their lives, be it their appearance, trying to get stronger, be it their energy, be it their mindset, be it their spiritual life, then I would say, you need to do something about it and stop making excuses as to why you're not. You are not. It's not God's will for you to be living a mediocre life. He wants you to live a blessed life, and you deserve that as a person because you're made in his likeness and image. You matter and you have a purpose on this earth. So why not do what you can to make your purpose on this earth something worth it, right? Something that you love, something you enjoy by changing your life physically, mentally, and spiritually. I make sure that I communicate that in everything that I do. I'm a messenger of hope. If you have any questions, you just want to see more about me, you can visit justinwilloughby.com. I would love to have you go to the website and see how you can know more about me and maybe get some answers from there.
Wonderful. It has been a phenomenal experience to have you on the Meticulous Moments podcast. We facilitate community upliftment through leadership development, and I feel that you just fit in so well with the Meticulous Moments family. JustinWilloughby.com. Reach out to Justin, network with him, follow him on social media, support his podcast that is starting tomorrow. Congratulations on that. And just a general thank you for being so awesome, such a wonderful leader. God bless you and your family, your beautiful family that is given you. And we are cheering you on this wonderful journey that you have embarked on. So thank you so much from us. And to the audience, I mean, my goodness, that was a powerful session. Follow Justin and we'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye.
Thank you.